Is Palestine a lost cause? Palestine is losing international diplomatic support. Saudi Arabia is close to recognizing Israel and normalizing relations. UAE has condemned Hamas. Israel is planning on sieging the rest of Gaza. At least that's what I've read online. I believe this is the end of Palestine. The UN has already predicted Gaza to be uninhabitable. The Arabs living there would migrate to neighboring countries. I think the Arabs will abandon Palestine on their own. I'm not sure on Palestine, but I have this to say on Gaza: waging an unwinnable war against an adversary that controls the resources that are needed in your territory is a political death sentence. Israel is cutting off resources now. Unless Gaza gets help from actors like Iran, it will not be able to hold its position. I bet Iran won't intervene, since that would be a total escalation that'll draw in the United States, who sent the USS Gerald Ford as deterrent. I'd just like to point out that an independent Ireland and a South Africa free of apartheid were both widely seen as lost causes almost up until the point they weren't. What changed in Ireland and South Africa was strong leaders emerged on both sides who were willing to compromise. And there was a decent exit strategy put in place for those people still profiting from the status quo. There was a saying about him: Arafat never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. I believe this is the end of Palestine. The UN has already predicted Gaza to be uninhabitable. The Arabs living there would migrate to neighboring countries. I think the Arabs will abandon Palestine on their own. Palestinians have wanted to migrate to neighboring Arab countries for decades. The problem is that the bordering countries, particularly Jordan and Egypt, are unwilling to accept Palestinian refugees. From watching this type of thing for close to 50 years now, I'd have to say it's the status quo for sure. Well, Palestine still has West Bank, but Israel will finish Hamas for sure. This is it. No. But at some point, the Palestinians are going to have to swallow a bitter pill and make some huge concessions and accept having even less land. Very few countries care enough about the Palestinians to give them much leverage. And Hamas is about to get hammered. This war should not affect the West Bank as much, but it still will to some extent. And it will give Israel cover to build more settlements, etc. The problem for the Palestinians is that Hamas slaughtering civilians on such a scale has absolutely ended the conversation for vast swaths of the country. There is no tolerance for compromise anymore. The existential nerve in every Israeli brain has been twiddled and yanked. The cause is over. OBV, just my opinion. But I have a few Israeli doves in my network and they are apoplectic with rage and fear. Not good. Though Palestine has no takers in the Middle East, it seems like they've found favor and sympathy among parts of the younger cohorts of the left, particularly on social media where they're seen as underdogs. Again, this is the narrative that gets traction. Curious how they're seen by younger people in different parts of the world. Unless Palestine forms a legitimate and rational government, forms a legitimate military, and is known for something other than violence and terrorism, they're absolutely a lost cause. I think it is. The entire world has seen Hamas militants rape and murder civilians, and Palestinians all over the world cheering for it. Hamas just shot Free Palestine in the back of the head, and Israel is getting ready to burn what is left of the corpse. And no one from the West is going to care enough now to stop them. It's been a lost cause for a while now. Like everything else. Just remember that Israel has approximately 90 or so nukes. If Iran jumps in and Israel feels an existential threat coming from any direction, they will feel that they have no choice. Shite will get real deep real fast. Which country would take refugees from Gaza? I very much doubt Egypt or Iran will. Also, it seems very unrealistic that Israel will just remove all those people from Gaza. What would that even look like? Just continue bombing until the Arab countries agree to rescue the civilians? Do you think Israel is morally capable of doing that? I want to thank people on this thread for their fact-based and rational comments. This is a contentious issue. Likely an epic miscalculation from Hamas. Likely on behalf of Iran looking to either escalate into a broader conflict or achieve a goal unrelated to the well-being of Palestinians. Political goodwill from the international community was the most important resource Gaza had, and Hamas just torched that widespread sympathy and popularity. Honestly, maybe even a three-state solution, because the West Bank seems way more capable of governing itself and being realistic in a difficult situation. No one wants Gaza. It's going to get invaded, and then the best outcome is like a withdrawal and UN peacekeepers or something. So long as literal terrorist organizations such as Hamas are in charge and have the stated goal of destroying every square inch of Israel, I don't see any progress being made ever. Similar to how US received considerable international support in the wake of 9/11, and were subsequently vilified for the conduct of their troops' intelligence services to the point where American hegemony has been significantly tarnished. Israel is being supported right now. But as they seek revenge on Hamas Palestine, civilians will be killed, likely in significant numbers. As the number of civilian and military deaths rises over the coming weeks, months, international diplomatic support for Palestine may well return. No, it may be a lost state, but the Arabs will never stop defending the Palestinians' right to freedom. Yes, there is no reconciliation. Need a clear victor and loser. Muslim Palestine has been slowly destroyed over several decades. A Palestinian state is simply impossible now. Even before this current situation, the settlements all across Palestinian territory have made it impossible. Human rights and ethnic cleansing in violation of international standards and laws is never a lost cause. The problem is you have to have enough people pull their heads out and to actually care in order for anything to work. I can't believe that the UN hasn't issued a decree condemning Hamas' actions, but also warning that a disproportionate response would not be tolerated. The entire Middle East is a lost cause. As long as people support Hamas killing innocent people barbarically, there is no Palestine. There is none. What is Palestine? Egyptian Arabic speakers in Gaza that would never marry a Jordanian Arabic speaker in the West Bank? Different dialects and cultures. It was invented as a people in '67 by Soviet propaganda, as it was much more useful than the truth of two major countries losing small parts to Israel. Like all Soviet propaganda creations, the left fell in love with the cause. But it was never going to happen. Just create havoc. Did you ever hear the story of Native Americans? And what happened to them after the settlers came? Gaza will be occupied again. The Third Intifada will persist for years to come. The UN and third parties will attempt to broker peace, and radicals on both sides will critique the peace plan as a surrender to terrorists. Both sides are lost causes, yes. This will never end. I think it's a lost cause. Some are saying that Gaza can be propped up by anti-West countries, but I don't see it. North Korea is propped up because of how close it is with Russia and China. Once Saudi normalize relation with Israel, I think it'll sway the Arab countries to normalize, cause Saudi have petrol power and a lot of says. MBS seems to be okay with giving up Palestine, while the older Saudi powers wants to stick with Palestine. I think MBS will win. always was.